we do see is this market actually is a good reset for a lot of the private equity in general. There have been a lot of players who have been able to raise fund after fund with with track records which are probably not as great as they should be on the back of this low interest rates and this a booming environment. So I think there was a quote that came out to say that the many private equity players who have raised their last fund, they just don't realize that yet, right? And
why don't they realize that yet?
And I don't think it's a bad thing. So from a perspective of an allocator, you do want to see that market streamline a little bit and the top quartile managers truly being top quartile, and then everybody else still performing, but really still making more than what an investor would make in the public markets. And that's the idea behind it, right? You need to have your private markets beating your public markets, even for managers who are middle and a bit lower than that, because otherwise, why do you exist, right? So you see a lot of managers now extra focused on having their operational team in place to ensure that they have ability to go in straight away, grow revenue, optimize for costs, put in the right governance structure and talent pool in place. Everyone has always said they do it, and Scott knows this, but many just say it. And the reality is today, if you don't, you just can't drive the return. So there's structural changes inside private equity today. And the last piece around that structural change is cash flow management. I think historically, private equity players have been very tardy with how they manage cash flow. A lot of it being because cash flow comes from the sovereigns. Sovereigns have much lower cost of capital, so they allocate, they let you take your time to buy, and the commitment sits there. The opportunity cost actually is really high for the balance sheet. I think today everyone is a lot more impatient, and that's the right thing to do because that creates truly a longer lasting private markets for everybody, not just sovereigns and large institutions.